All right, we're back with another Pick'em video. It is Friday, February 20th in the NBA. We got a bunch of games, but there's a bunch of back-to-back news, injury news that we got to go over. So if you want to stay tuned to the end of the video, I will do a full breakdown of the slate in general, all the injury news, all the projected minutes and things like that. But first, I'm going to go over my recap of yesterday's video picks, and then we're going to talk about my favorite plays for today, and then we'll hop into that full slate breakdown. So if that sounds cool, go ahead and leave the video a like, comment something down below. We got a couple new subscribers yesterday, so if you're back, welcome back, and if you're new, stay tuned. We got some pretty good plays. We've been pretty good all season, and hopefully you enjoy the content. So I'm about to talk about the recap, and if you don't care about the recap, fast forward about 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and if you want to come back and hear my breakdown of actually what happened yesterday, because we had a bad day, then you can watch this next part. I think it's pretty interesting. It was an unfortunate day for sure, but here's the recap. And this one hurts me because we had a horrible day. We had some good reasons. I'm going to break them down like we always do, but of course, if you are new around here, I show my wins and losses every single time. If I have a bad day, I don't shy away from it. So let's talk about him real quick. Brandon Miller over his points and rebounds, 26.5. He ends with 17 points, chipped in with 4 rebounds, so that would be 21. This was a volume play. I said it about 15 times in the video yesterday, and he just shot horribly. He shot 5 of 22 from the field, 1 of 12 or 1 of 11 from 3. Could not knock down a shot, but the volume was there. Shot 22 times, and again, chipped in with 4 boards. So was the read there? Absolutely. I'd play this one again if I knew the volume going into it, and that's what we were expecting. That was the read. He just couldn't knock him down, and that happens sometimes. I just say the worst play here of the day was Emmanuel Quickley. He only ended with, I think, 3 assists on the night. I didn't look at his potentials, but there was a lot of other guys that were involved in playmaking, and Quickley was that guard on that team, but Scotty Barnes is also like a point forward on that team. Ingram can distribute the ball a little bit. I don't hate the read at all, but it was a great matchup. Guys have been assisting very well against that Bulls team, but Quickley just doesn't get it done. Ben Shepherd, I love this read. Again, we talked about his projected minutes. It was at 19. I was like, Ben Shepherd's going to get more time than this. Pacers are in tank mode. We might not even get a guy like Nesmith. We might not get TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell ends up sitting out. Nesmith ends up leaving the game hurt anyway, played 12 minutes or something. Nembhard only played 22 minutes, and Ben Shepherd gets 27 minutes in that game, and he was stuck on 3 rebounds forever. At one point, his 4.5 rebounds line was minus 200 on the live plays. So again, another read that I really like to see. If you're looking at this and you're like, oh, you won one of them and you lost one of them. We actually laddered this all the way up to 5.5 threes. I have that in my tracking. I just didn't want to show 55 red spots today. So yeah, we laddered them all the way up to 5.5 threes. He only cashed his normal line at the 2.5. But yeah, just an unfortunate one. He played 27 minutes, way more than is projected, and that's kind of the read there. And then Stephon Castle, 26.5 PRA. Of course, he ends on 26. He plays 21 or 22 minutes in that game, which was horrible because it was a massive blowout. He didn't have to do anything in the second half. He did all the damage in the first half. He was playing incredible. And again, the read was, hey, he's going to play a little bit better than Wemby. He absolutely did, and unfortunately, it was just a 30-point game for pretty much the entire second half of that game. So he only played 21 minutes. We can't predict that every single time. So he ends at 26. That was brutal. He needed 1 more PRA, and he was hooping. So that's the recap. I don't brush off my losses if you're new around here. That's what happens. Sometimes we have bad reads. I don't think yesterday was one of those days. I think we just didn't have it go our way. And a little positivity here. If you stayed for the end of the video where I did the breakdown of the games and talked about my leans, I went back and watched that video because I was like, dang, a lot of those leans seem pretty dang good. And we went 7-3 on the leans that I mentioned at the end of the video, breaking down the full slate, which we'll do again today. So yeah, long recap, but I hate losing days, and especially ones like this where if you just took the plays and didn't watch or didn't look at the games and how they went, you'd look and be like, this was horrible. This dude doesn't know what he's talking about. This just happened to be one of those days where it's like, this could have been a better day if some things just rolled our way. Just an unfortunate one. So let's hop into the plays for today. Let's have a bounce back spot like we typically do around here. And smash the like button for some good luck for us. Let's hop into Props Madness to actually start talking about our plays. That was the longest intro ever. I apologize about that. But recaps are important, especially on losing days. But let's talk about Derek Queen. He's going to be our first play of the video. And if you're watching this video and you're like, dang, I got to try this tool out, Props Madness is awesome. There's a link in the description down below for 25% off your first month. But Derek Queen is going to be our first play here. Points and rebounds at 20.5. Obviously, the hit rate on the entire season doesn't look amazing, but Derek Queen kind of came onto the scene a little bit later on in the season. And there's a bunch of injuries that we got to talk about in this one. So let's go do that. Let's pop over to RotoWire, talk about this game in general. Milwaukee and the Pelicans 4-point spread in favor of the Pelicans here, who are the home team. But there's no Yves Missi, who's kind of been splitting minutes a little bit with Derek Queen as of late. And there's probably no Trey Murphy III, which is going to be a big boost for a guy like Derek Queen's offensive production and usage rate. So we can go to projected minutes here, and we're going to see a projected minutes around 31 minutes. Now, Derek Queen sometimes loses minutes, some guys off the bench, but I don't totally expect that today. Derek Queen is their kind of star-studded rookie. He looks pretty dang good, promising dude that they want to keep playing. So I expect him to be around that 29 to 35 minute mark, 27 to 35 minute mark. And that's what we're going to look at right here, because games without Yves Missi, he's not over this very often, but his minutes have been there, 29.1. And Yves Missi hadn't been missing many games since December 22nd was the most recent game he missed. And all that was before this, before Derek Queen was kind of who he became throughout later on in the season here. So I like to see the minutes around 29 minutes per game without a guy like Yves Missi, and that those minutes go up more recently to around 30 so minutes. So we're going to go to the minutes. We're going to bump this up to around 27. Obviously 27 plus looks great, but let's go 27 to 35 minutes. I think that's a pretty good mark for him today. And he's over this in 69% of games. So we love to see that. Now, there's been a little bit of red recently, and you might be like, oh, that's because Zion's been playing a whole lot. With Zion, the lineup is actually over in 70% of games. So the hit rate's looking pretty dang good for me. He does have some duds, but the floor is higher than the ceiling. He can go way over this rather than, he can be really close to this as well. And then we talk about the matchup, because that's the last thing we got to look at. Now, within 10 feet, the Bucks have been pretty dang good, but, they give up free throws, they give up isolation points, pick and roll, big man, and spot up. That's kind of the main ways that a guy like Derek Queen is scoring the ball, and he can also get some rebounds in a hurry. In terms of rebounds allowed, there you go, give up the 17th most, so they're right in the middle of the pack. But they don't have Giannis anymore. So we could go look at like the last 15 for this team. Then you look at the rebounds. They're giving up a little bit more rebounds. Their defensive rating is worse. And then you just take a look at the big guys for this Milwaukee Bucks team. Derek Queen, pretty talented. He's a young dude for sure. But he's not going up against Giannis and Brook Lopez anymore. He's going up against Jericho Sims and Kyle Kuzma. Ousmane Deng will be a guy that comes off the bench, and Bobby Portis. So Derek Queen doesn't have a ton of competition. It's not like, again, he's going up against one of the best defensive players in the league. There's no Miles Turner here either. So Derek Queen has a pretty good advantage, I think, over the guys that are playing for the bigs on the Milwaukee side of things. So I'm liking Derek Queen. Haven't gone to him a while, but 20.5 just seems a little bit too low. If this bumps to 21.5, it's something to think about for sure. I think you can still get there. But I think Derek Queen's, due for a good game here. He should get the extra time, extra usage, especially without no Trey Murphy. But a guy like Yves Missi is going to bump his minutes floor up to around 30 minutes or so. So I'm liking this play. Derek Queen, first play of the video. So moving to play number 2, going to attack some plus money here for Kyle Filipowski over his 9.5 boards. It is plus 102 right now on FanDuel, and the hit rate's not going to look amazing. But the Jazz, one of those teams that you got to watch out for tanking. They've literally been warned by the league. I think they already got fined, like a huge fine by the league for sitting out guys like Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. down the stretch of games. Now, that might change since they just got fined. Like Lauri Markkanen might have to play a little bit more, but there's still a bunch of injuries. Jaren Jackson Jr., I think he's done for the year. Didn't he just get surgery? Nurkic is going to be out here. Walker Kessler's going to be out. So a lot of front court players are out. That's going to mean Filipowski's got to fill that role, and he's got a great matchup here at the starting center spot going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, who are really, really small right now after the trades they made. So these are both teams that don't really want to win. And the Jazz side of things, I just trust Filipowski and the time he's going to get on the court today. If you go over and look at this matchup, it's the grudge match of teams that don't want to win pretty much. A ton of injuries for both of them. The Memphis Grizzlies side of things, I mean, they're just going to play their 9-10 guys split minutes pretty much the whole time. But the Utah Jazz, they've kind of had favorites. Isaiah Collier has played a ton of minutes. Ace Bailey's got a lot of time. And I think Filipowski will be in that same boat today, projected for 29 minutes, mostly in that center position, and he'll be the biggest dude on the court by far. You can look at the Memphis side. Kyle Anderson and Gigi Jackson are their starting center and power forward projections, and centers have been absolutely dominating their line. We've gone to Klingan a few times against this Grizzlies team, and he was a monster against them. Filipowski is going to be the biggest guy in the court for sure, and I think it's going to translate to some rebounds. But let's go over to Props Madness and start making this graph look better, because I don't like to see a 35% hit rate. How do we make this a little bit better? Well, first of all, Nurkic is going to be out. We just got Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. He didn't play many games, and Walker Kessler's been out for a while. So Nurkic has been the guy that's really battled minutes for against a guy like Filipowski. So let's take Nurkic out of here, and we all of a sudden get a 46% hit rate. But recently, we've seen some pretty good stuff. Why is this happening? And we'll see the minutes projections, or his minutes, not projections, just what he's been getting in games, has been a lot better recently. 30 minutes here without Nurkic, 28, 36, 28, 24 back in January. But I like to see these last 4 games. His floor has been around 28, and RotoWire's got him projected 29 right now. So beginning of the year is a little bit different. Nurkic comes in, starts playing a little bit more, and then he starts playing less, then he starts playing more again, and there's some injuries piling up. Whatever it might be, I like the recent form and the minutes he's been getting to be a floor around 28. But just to be a little bit conservative, let's bump this up to around 25 plus minutes. Now we're over a 50% hit rate, which we like to see, a little bit more green on here. And we still haven't even talked about the matchup in terms of like the filters we've included here. So with that much minutes on the court, with Nurkic out of the lineup, and he's going up against a team that gives up a whole lot of rebounds, so a favorable matchup there. This is where we're starting to see these monster rebounding matchups, 17, 16, 12, and 13 against the Grizzlies back in December. They look like a totally different team. Now they're extremely small and want to lose, so that's a good sign too. So loving this hit rate now when we start looking at, okay, now he's going to get a lot of time on the court. There's no Nurkic, and it's a great rebounding matchup. This is where Filipowski can grab some boards. So loving the plus 102 price tag over the 9.5 rebounds. You could ladder this up, get a little fancy if you wanted to. I'll probably just run with the plus 102, get some plus money on a nice play, and run a full unit on it. So Filipowski, second play of the video. Moving to play number 3, it's going to be Ben Shepherd, and it's going to be the exact same reason I went to him yesterday at the 2.5 line and laddered him up. Now he only had 3 rebounds, but he had 3 rebounds very early on, and I thought for sure you'd grab another rebound. And he just didn't. And it was also weird. He played 0 minutes in the second quarter. He played all 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. Very weird rotations, but there's even more injury news to talk about today. No Siakam. Now there's definitely no Nesmith, who played yesterday but got hurt. And there's no Johnny Furphy. That's the big guy here. With no Johnny Furphy, this is when the rebounds start to come for him. And then you talk about his minutes projection. Remember, RotoWire had him at like 19 projected minutes yesterday. I was saying I think he's going to get more closer to 30. He ends with 27 minutes yesterday, and now his projected minutes is around 25 minutes. So I'm going to, get Johnny Furphy out of there and give Shepherd, 20 plus minutes. Now this is a 64% hit rate. Give him 25 plus minutes, which is what he got yesterday. 81% hit rate. And let's say he doesn't get 39 minutes. Let's say 25 to 32. We're still looking at around an 80% hit rate. Now, weirdly enough, the 2 games he's missed were against the Wizards in both those games. And it's because a lot of rebounds were going to a lot of different people in that game. Jarris Walker had like 14 boards in that game. And I think that might change a little bit today. It's just where's it going to roll here? And I think it's got to roll, Ben Shepherd's way at some point. With this much time on the court, without a guy like Furphy, meaning a guy that's in his position, he should get more time in the court. This is what we're looking at in games. He's averaging around 28 minutes in these games, and that's right around where he got yesterday. So weird that he only got 3 in both these games against the Wizards. Now he gets the Wizards once again. They give up the most rebounds in the entire league. So in Ben Shepherd, getting a little bit more time, a little bit bigger usage here, a little just more time in the court. He played pretty well in the time in the court yesterday. I think they just run him out the same, with all the injuries and things like that. And with all of that said, I think I have a pretty good track record of plays that miss. If you just go to it the next game, it ends up, hitting. That's what it seems like, at least. So I'm going to, put that to the test and go right back to Ben Shepherd here. Minus 108. I'm not going to ladder it or anything. Just hopefully gets us 4 boards. And that would be nice for us. So it would make up for yesterday. And the final official video pick today is going to be Nikola Jokic to knock down some threes. And you're probably like, dude, you're crazy. What are you doing? Hasn't had a 3 in the last 3 games. But I like his matchup today, going up against Donovan Clingan and the Utah Jazz, the Trailblazers. I like Clingan. Clingan's a slow dude. Jokic might just launch some. And Jokic has come back from injury here. And he's also on a back-to-back set here. And on back-to-back sets, a bigger dude, a more sluggish dude like Jokic, might have to just kind of settle for some threes sometimes if the energy isn't fully there, whatever it might be. And they're coming off a loss to the Clippers yesterday at a close game. 36 minutes in that game, they lose that thing by 1. Jokic did have an injury. He's come back from injury, and he's played a back-to-back already in these games, so I do expect him to go out there and play. And he also played a ton of time. He played 45 minutes in an overtime game against the Knicks, so they were not worried about his minutes. So I'm not worried about Jokic's minutes in a back-to-back set, and I'm kind of trying to, hype this up a little bit, because in back-to-back sets, he's been dominating this line. 71% of games, he's over this, and you can see the three-pointers attempted. If you go to stats, see the three-pointers attempted in these games. His average is 4.7 on the season. In back-to-backs, he averages 6 threes attempted per game. So I'm loving to see that. And on top of the fact that he's got Donovan Clingan, a slow dude who likes to stay in the paint, he might launch a little bit more. So you go to the games against this same team. He had 2 threes against these guys back in October. That was like one of the first games of the season. But then you also look at games that he's going to shoot, averaging 6 threes a game in those instances on the back-to-backs. So 3 points attempted a game. Let's bump this up to like, I don't know, 5 to 7 threes. Nothing too crazy. And again, over in 75% of them. So Jokic knocks him down when he has the looks. And I think he's going to have the looks today to knock him down against Clean. So 1.5 threes. Taking the over, minus 115. So that'll do it for the official video picks. I'm still going to talk about the whole breakdown of the slate and my leans, which did really good yesterday. I know a lot of people enjoy the breakdowns, knowing who's playing, projected minutes, teams on a back-to-back. That's all good information. So stay tuned for that if you want to. And also like the video if you made it this far. Comment something down below. Subscribe if you're new. All those good things help you to push this video out a little bit more. And while we're talking, while we're at a little break here, let's shout out Pickett. If you guys want a bet tracker that's completely free for you to use, all you do, you go in there, use code RichPicks when you sign up, link in the description down below. You get $300 when you sync your first sports book, and that's all you got to do. If you're on FanDuel, DraftKings, PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, BetMGM, whatever it might be, you just sync your sports book and it does all the work for you. It lets you know if you're winning over the course of a year, month, date, like all time, whatever it might be. It tells you, and it's seamless. It's awesome to use, and you want to know if you're winning or losing. So check out Pickett. Use code RichPicks when signing up, and again, $3 to $100 when you sync your first sports book. Completely free for you guys to use, and they just PayPal or Venmo you, whatever is easier for you. Now, before we break down the entire slate, here's a recap of what we talked about in this video. Derek Queen over his points and rebounds, 20.5 is the line, minus 115 is the price, full unit play. Kyle Filipowski over his 9.5 boards, plus 102 on FanDuel, 1 unit play. Ben Shepherd, maybe this is a gut play. If you could take one off, it'd probably be this one just because it makes a whole lot of sense. He should have got there yesterday against the Wizards, and it's just kind of running back our loss, which I never really do, but I feel like I should do it because every time I have an entire breakdown and it makes a whole lot of sense and he doesn't get there, they go out there and crush it the next game. So I don't want to miss that on Ben Shepherd. But again, more like a gut play and than a price play, like minus 108. I wish this was plus money, to be totally honest, but we'll take it there. And then Jokic threes makes a whole lot of sense in a back-to-back. I was very close to doing 0.75 unit plays on all these to be a little bit more conservative, especially coming off a bad day yesterday. But I think this is a bounce back spot for us. These all make sense. And again, we had a bad day yesterday on paper, but a lot of things went wrong for us to have that bad day. Stephon Castle hooked us in a huge blowout where he only played 20 minutes. He should have got there. Brandon Miller almost got to his line, and he shot like 25% from the field, shot 22 times in that game. Ben Shepherd definitely could have climbed that ladder a little bit. He had 3 rebounds for an eternity. So our reads yesterday were good, and that's kind of why I'm sticking with the unit size. But just be careful in the NBA this next week, especially this next week, but also almost the entire next month and a half. It gets a little bit harder because teams start messing with rotations, especially tanking teams. You don't know whenever a guy's going to get a huge boost in minutes or whatever it might be. A lot of these guys shouldn't be affected or be affected positively by that today. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I dove really deep in all of these, and they make a whole lot of sense, which is why I'm sticking to the 1 unit plays. But let's get into my leans and the full breakdown of the slate if you want to stay tuned for that. So why is this such a bad slate and kind of harder slate to predict? Well, it's because there's a ton of teams on a back-to-back. So teams that played yesterday and teams that play today, Friday. We have the Atlanta Hawks, we have the Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Denver Nuggets, the Pacers, the Clippers, and the Wizards. That's a lot of teams on back-to-backs, and you never know if a guy's going to pop up on the injury report. That's not even on the injury report as of right now. So let's go over to RotoWire, start talking about all of the games. We got the Indiana Pacers. I'm going to refresh this because things are always changing. And we got the Pacers and the Wizards to start things off. These guys played yesterday. It's a back-to-back, and they're playing the same team. So interesting one there. Jarris Walker had an amazing game. But for the Pacers, let's talk about the injuries first. No Obi Toppin, no Zubac yet. Siakam and Nesmith all out. McConnell was questionable yesterday. He did not play, so he definitely could play today, but at the same time, the Pacers don't really want to win, and TJ McConnell definitely one of those winning players. So here's the projected minutes as of right now. Again, we're going to Ben Shepherd. I honestly hope TJ McConnell doesn't play just because it's going to be more minutes for a guy like Ben Shepherd. But Ben Shepherd played pretty well. He's a younger dude. I expect them to play him more in these tanking sort of situations. But Jarris Walker has been really good. And again, Wizards a really good matchup for anyone to score, get rebounds, get assists, whatever it might be. He was someone I was looking at. His lines are just a little bit too juiced for me. So I'm going to stay away, but someone to look forward to for the future in terms of lines when we get a lot of guys out for the Pacers. On the Wizards side of things, it's so hard to predict this team, and I haven't really even tried recently. Their minutes are very much split. You never know who's going to play well and play not and not play well. There's still no Trae Young. There's no Alex Sarr for the next 2 weeks. There's no AD, no D'Lo. So it's a lot of young dudes out there splitting minutes. You never know who's going to pop off. We got the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies. We talked about Kyle Filipowski to grab some rebounds. He's going to be the best rebounder out there. Lauri Markkanen, maybe a little bit taller than the dude, but Filipowski, definitely the best rebounder that's going to go out there. And Lauri Markkanen, you never know if he's even going to play that much. Filipowski should get that 28 minutes around there. Hopefully gets a little bit more and gobbles up boards against this Memphis team. This Memphis team, ton of injuries. Pretty much everyone that you would know is injured for this team. Now, they're kind of the same as the Wizards. They've been splitting minutes very much evenly, so it's going to be a little bit harder to predict who's playing well. Ty Jerome's out, which a guy like Cam Spencer is always someone I look at. G.G. Jackson in terms of scoring. There's a couple guys that you can trust a little bit more than other dudes. Jalen Wells, another guy, but I don't really like his lines. Just a weird one, kind of like the Wizards. I'd much rather go to the Utah Jazz, where I think some guys have some consistency to their game when they get that extra time. Let's go to Cleveland and the Charlotte Hornets. Again, this team's on a back-to-back. Both these teams are on a back-to-back. And we got Max Strus out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the Charlotte Hornets, we still have no Miles Bridges. We still have no Diabate. Both those guys suspended. Kobe White, doubtful to make his debut today. Grant Williams also questionable. Remember, he's coming off an ACL tear. I don't know if he'll play on a back-to-back. He also played really well yesterday. But the guy, again, I'd be looking at is going to be Brandon Miller. We know the shot volume is going to be there without Miles Bridges, but he did not play very well, and his lines actually jumped up today. So a guy that I'm not specifically going to, but you could definitely attack him. Maybe it's a bounce back spot for him. But the Cavs have been great. They're 6-point favorites here. The Charlotte Hornets are banged up in terms of suspensions. Bridges and Diabate, both huge guys for them. And the Cleveland Cavaliers have been playing great. James Harden kind of been facilitating. Donovan Mitchell doing his thing. Evan Mobley's now back in the lineup, and Jared Allen's been playing really well with James Harden, going be able to pass to him. So it's an interesting spot. Brandon Miller, again, he should get the shots up. We'll just see if he can knock him down for the Cavs side of things. I mean, James Harden's been a dime machine pretty much all season. Miami and Atlanta, we got some probable tags. This is one I didn't even honestly look into for the Miami side of things. Tyler Hero's not played in a while. Norman Powell is questionable here. Those are two massive players for them. I need to know if they're playing, if I want to attack these lines. So not going to spend too much time on that one. For the Atlanta Hawks, we just saw them play yesterday. Dyson Daniels was an absolute baller. We get a high-paced team against this Miami team. He could be, right there once again. Okongwu can definitely knock down some threes in some spots. And a guy like CJ McCollum, I think, definitely has some good lines. I think around 20 points and rebounds or something like that was something I was looking at for the Atlanta Hawks team. For the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, let's take a look at this projected minutes for these teams. We got some injuries to talk about. Cooper Flag, he's going to be the main guy, obviously, out for this team, along with the other dudes that are not going to be here. Kyrie's out for the season. Anthony Davis is traded. So without Cooper Flag, who's going to step up here? PJ Washington could be great. Najee Marshall has really been the dude without a guy like Cooper Flag on the court. So those are two guys I'd be looking at, but there could be definitely some interesting guys off the bench once we know who's playing with these questionable tags. Could definitely be a spot that there could be some value. Then for the Minnesota Timberwolves side of things, I was kind of looking at Naz Reid's unders just because he has not been playing really well in terms of scoring, specifically with Ayo Dosunmu in the lineup. But I don't hate his, and I also don't really like his matchup here. So honestly, a guy like Naz Reid, fading him could be a good look. I'd assume on him around 25 minutes off the bench. In terms of the starters, this is a 13.5 point spread. You just got to be a little bit weary of that, which kind of helps a kind of a blowout situation here for a Naz Reid under. Maybe that's a good angle to look at. You could also look at his under rebounds, I think, too. Milwaukee side of things and the Pelicans, we got Giannis, no Miles Turner. So we already talked about this a little bit. Jericho Sims, Bobby Portis, Ousmane Deng will be the front court. Cam Thomas has been great off the bench sometimes, or he has been great. He had that one pretty good game. So he can score in a hurry. Kevin Porter Jr. has been awesome. He's been been the facilitator, been scoring really well. Same with Ryan Rollins, and Kuzma can sometimes be trusted. But AJ Green in a good spot to knock down some threes for sure. Got a great matchup for it, and he's been really dang good. Could definitely be a ladder situation if you want to look at that. For the Pelican side of things, we already talked about it. No Yves Missi, potentially no Trey Murphy III. I don't think he's going to play, which is why we're going to Derek Queen. I also really want to get to Saddiq Bey's rebounds. His line's at 5.5. It's juiced, but it would be the same thing where I'd probably play the 5.5, and then I'd ladder it up to honestly like 10 plus rebounds. Maybe even look at a double-double for some really good value. I just think he's going to play really good in a spot like this because there's not a lot of good, front court depth from Milwaukee. Someone's got to rebound a whole lot, and Sadiq Bey might be that guy. And we attack Derek Queen to score some buckets and get some rebounds too. Brooklyn and OKC, we still got no Shea, we got no AJ Mitchell, and we got no J-Dub. So who's going to be the facilitator? Who's going to be the scorer for this team? Hartenstein's been a really good facilitator. I don't particularly love this matchup for him to get assists. It might look good on paper, but honestly, I was looking at the under for some plus money for Hartenstein, but he's been diming up, especially without these guys on the court, so I'm probably not going to touch that. Jared McCain's been great in terms of scoring. His minutes continue to rise in each game, and then Chet Holmgren's going to be like the main staple here. Guys like Case and Wallace, Dort, Isaiah Joe can get hot. So definitely some spots to look at there. More guys getting more opportunities, and the Brooklyn Nets suck. This is an 18-point spread, so maybe you want to look at some unders for some starters for the Nets. Igor Denham, I was honestly looking at his under 2.5 threes. I didn't get there because he's been knocking down threes, getting more opportunities, and this is a pretty good spot-up matchup, but the blowout situation might hurt him a little bit. At the same time, who knows? The Nets might play this guy 35 minutes even in a blowout. Nolan Traore was another guy I was looking at his unders, 4.5 assists. If it was 5.5, I'd definitely play it, but 4.5 just seems a little bit too low, even in a tough matchup here. Claxton, I think he's questionable. I thought he was doubtful, but he's questionable right now, so we'll see what happens with him, and MPJ will do his best to probably get as many shots up while he's on the floor. Then we got the Clippers and the Lakers. Battle of LA here. Garland's still out, but relatively healthy squads here, which I love to see. The Clippers, on a back-to-back. Kawhi's been playing awesome. We just had the Ben McMathurin game where maybe he gets a little bit more comfortable. This guy can absolutely be a bucket. So you guys see where his lines are. Hopefully they're not too juiced. This would definitely be someone I'd look at. Don't get too excited just from that one explosion. He doesn't even have lines right now. So he's coming off an injury too. So he's not on the injury report right now, but he's one of those guys that maybe pops up on the injury report in a back-to-back set where he just played really well. We'll see what happens. I'd like to see if he plays or not. But John Collins, Chris Dunn, and Kawhi Leonard have all been really good. Brook Lopez knocked down some threes, has been pretty good to us recently. And Derek Jones Jr. can be hit or miss in terms of his scoring. For the Lakers side of things, we're finally going to get Luka, LeBron, and Reeves back in lineup as of right now. No one on the injury report, but a couple of these guys have been in and out of the lineup, so maybe they don't play as much time as they should. But at the same time, they're coming off the All-Star break where they just had a pretty decent amount of time off. So this is an interesting one. Definitely one I want to look at later. 7.5-point spread in favor of the Lakers, but the Clippers have done pretty dang good since they traded everyone. Denver and Portland, this is the last game of the day. One guy I was looking at is going to be Scoot Henderson. I was looking at his unders just because he's not going to get much time on the court. And the last 3 games, he's played really well, scored really well, but he's shooting 65%, 70%. So it's going to come down to earth at some point. The Denver Nuggets are pretty good on back-to-back sets. We already talked about Jokic knocking down some threes against Klingan, getting him uncomfortable and maybe getting some open threes on the outside. But we got no Aaron Gordon. We got no Peyton Watson. And we got no Sharp for the Portland Trailblazers. If Sharp was playing, I would definitely go to Scoot Henderson under 12.5 points. But with him not playing, it's kind of I don't know yet. But Scoot can't shoot 70% every single game. And this isn't the best defense in the world, but even against a bad defense, you can have a poor shooting night. So Scoot, definitely someone I was interested in taking maybe a look at his unders. And maybe a Jamal Murray revenge game. Missed a free throw yesterday to lose them the game. So maybe he plays pretty well in this spot. But this could be a fun game. 1.5-point spread. Portland not in a back-to-back, and Denver is. So that will do it for me in this one. We talked about 4 official video picks, and then we just broke down the entire slate. There's a ton of injuries. There's teams that are not trying to win. There's teams that are doing weird stuff with their rotations. So tread lightly in the NBA. Maybe I'm stupid for doing full unit plays on these ones. I'll show them on the screen one more time. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe they should be 0.75 unit plays, and I should play, tread a little lightly here, like I keep saying, in the NBA over the next few weeks. But I really like these plays, and I spent a lot of time finding them, so I'm going to throw the full 1 unit on it. But it's up to you guys what you end up taking, what do you end up doing. These are just my suggestions on the day and my favorite plays as of right now. So thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the video a like. Give us some good luck, but also help you to push this video out a little bit more. If you got an extra second or two, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you're new. Let me know if you're riding it with any of these. Let me know if you have other predictions that you really like for today. I love reading all your comments. And of course, subscribe if you are new. We'll keep going. Bad day doesn't deter me at all. I've had a lot of bad days in my career, but we always bounce back, and the winning days do outweigh the losing days over the course of 2+ years I've been doing this. So let's get a bounce back spot here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy Friday. Peace out.